Mondale Robinson, the founder and principal at the Black Male Voter Project, joins me to discuss, and he has a theory for why Dems keep losing, especially with black men. Mondale runs the only national organization exclusively focusing on boosting black men's involvement in electoral politics. Mondale, I'm so glad to have you here on Amplified. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And first off, I just want to get your take. Just break it down. What in the world do you think happened with this beatdown in Virginia on Tuesday?
I think the same thing that happened in New Jersey. Even though Democrats eked out a victory, what happened in New Jersey should be extremely alarming. And that was Democrats chose this whole entire election cycle, 2021, to spend their resources on conservative-leaning white people instead of their black base. And what happened was you saw that white women did what white women do. They voted for Republicans. And I don't know why Democrats and their consultants continue to believe that there's a way forward or a way of winning this demographic when since 1970 they've not won that demographic. I think what we saw last night, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday, is the beginning of everything. And when I say everything, I'm talking about the new norm if Democrats don't change the way they're campaigning, starting by letting go all of their consultant class. Even some of them that look like you.
All right, you better speak the truth. You know, I've been following your tweets, and you actually took to Twitter writing that the Democratic Party needs to, quote unquote, divorce its old way of campaigning. Break down for us all the things that you think that they are doing wrong and the strategies that they should actually be employing.
Yeah, I mean, if you consider the fact that the Democratic Party shows up in black communities 2 or 3 months before election with, you know, the proverbial fried chicken and church band, offering black people nothing of substance and all promises and never delivering on those. So much so that it's transactional to the point that black people, especially black men, aren't interested in what they have to offer. And this is not selfish from black men if you consider the fact that for 150 years we've been the victim of voter suppression from these people telling us what they can offer us or delivering on us. And if you think about Malcolm X gave a speech in 1964, Battle of the Bullet, saying the same thing. Why do we continue to give our vote for nothing, or most of our votes to the same party, and then our issues are addressed last, if ever? I think the Democratic Party is being shocked to death because this new generation, I'm talking about millennials and the generation behind them, are not like their grandparents. They're not loyalists, not party loyalists. They're loyal to their issues, and they've shown the Democratic Party that showing up 2 months before an election is not going to cut it. It's not going to address the years and years of harm and distrust that we have for your party and these candidates that you think are the great white hope. But what we're finding out are stale potato chips, basically.
You know, I want to show this other tweet that you posted because it really struck me as I think about why you do the work that you do that is specifically around engaging black men in the electoral process. Something that people might not realize is that the Democratic Party has been losing black male voters little bit by little bit for some time. Now, black women are always, you know, this reliable vote, 95% or so, but black men a little less so. And I want to pull up this tweet that you pointed out how you didn't get one knock on your door phone call from Democrats leading up to the election at all. But you did get some mailers in the mail which weren't exactly relevant to you. And I want you to talk about this and what you meant by that. I don't know if everybody can really see what those look like, but essentially you get these mailers and it's talking about women's issues and it's talking about education with some white kids on it. And you're like, wait a minute, you're not talking to me at all. Break that down and how you felt like you were missed in this entire election.
Yeah, I mean, the Democratic Party has too much money. Their auxiliaries have too much money, and especially in Virginia where there are no limits on what you can give candidates, campaigns, and who they can coordinate with, to not understand who lives in this house. And for them to ignore this household until 4 or 5 days before an election, and then when they do, it's 3 flyers on the same day, and none of them are really talking about the woman of color that's on the ballot. It's talking about white men with white kids. And I'm thinking, I got 67 nieces and nephews. I do care about the public education system, but it wouldn't be 5 or 6. The public education don't even look like 6 or 7 white kids. They look more like people that look like me. So they missed the ball all around, especially when you consider the fact that I am a black man and nothing about criminal justice reform was up there. Nothing about, and Terry McAuliffe didn't even say anything about race issues until his opponent, who is now the governor-elect, started talking about critical race theory. And instead of being serious about been so important as critical race theory and the need for us to, have an education that is based on critical race theory. He made a joke about it, saying we don't even teach it in Virginia, and the white people in the crowd laughed. But truthfully, it was a perfect time for him to say we shouldn't be making jokes about critical race theory. We shouldn't be trying to demonize it. We should be employing it to educate all of these racist new white kids coming up in school. So I think the Democratic Party, these racist path forward, and it's not proving anything. I think it's the political definition of insanity.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, kind of insanity. How many times are you going to keep beating your head against the wall, doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result? And that's exactly what Democrats do. They're transactional, completely transactional, and are transacting so much around issues that I presumably care about as a black woman. That is when they feel like actually talking to me and engaging to me, but missing the mark completely on black men. And so I would love to hear from you about, like, what are brothers talking about? Right? Like, what are the things that are really salient for black men right now that you'd like to see in the political discourse?
Well, and that's the tragedy. That's the tragedy of having a white political party, talking about the Democratic Party. And it is a white party when we talk about who controls it. I know the head of it right now is a black person, but Jamie, I don't think Jamie would say that that party is not a white party. And then them finding black people that they like to speak for an entire community. I'm talking about Clyburn. The number one issue for black men is criminal justice reform. In February, even before the Democrats started to negotiate with Republicans about criminal justice reform, Clyburn goes on national TV and says that he's willing to take qualified immunity off of the table. You take qualified immunity off the table, you're slapping all of those black men who did not vote for Barack Obama but came out in 2020 to vote for Joe Biden and the other Democrats, not just in Georgia, but all over. Also, sis, just real quick, if I can, I don't think Republicans have been making headway. Republicans have not been making headways with black men. There's always been a certain number of black men that have voted for Republicans, and it's around 10 to 12% every presidential election cycle. And it's still there. But what has been happening is more black men are just sitting out elections. And that's because they've been made invisible by the political process that does not recognize that they are a population, a demographic that is, and I'm not capping, that is the bottom of most social markers. We're the only demographic that can be rich, and we're more likely to die poor than we will rich, right? And that is because of America's institutional racism. And that word sounds old, but I don't want anybody to be fooled about institutional racism because it look as young as white millennials.
Now, I'm not going to let you off the hook about, the conversation you started about Clyburn. And even, Jamie Harrison, I just had on the show this week and was talking to him about, what was going down with the Dems kind of having a precursor to the elections. And you're right. I mean, Mr. Clyburn, for all intents and purposes, threw us under the bus, or threw the key provision that we wanted out of the Justice for George Floyd Act under the bus and said, we ain't even going to talk about qualified immunity, and that's fine. And I wonder how is it that we start to reconcile the fact that maybe our old guard black male leadership that's in leadership, but then you question leadership for who at times when they do things like that. How do we get around that and start making progress? Because those are also the people who are in the position to determine who the consultants are going to be, who decided that you weren't going to get a phone call, or who decided that you were going to get those mailers that were white people on them, right? So how do we start to either get around the establishment, or at least help to update that establishment, or do something different? I'm curious about strategically what we do here.
Yeah, I think the thing is an inside-outside strategy. I think you and I both know the Democratic Party, while they say they don't play in the primary, they definitely control the primary, so they can choose which candidates are and aren't elected during the primary, so as to become the nominee for whatever level of office they're running for. Our job as black progressives and black people who are pushing back on the old guard who play respectability politics, and also, which is extremely dangerous for our lives. Our job is to make sure that we are talking to the demographics that we're reaching out to and letting them know that the primary is just as important, if not more important, than is the general election, because we get to choose the tone of what the Democrats will say if we put progressives in the primary and support them. Now, this is not criticizing voters for not turning out in primary, because again, I think the party benefits They think they benefit from having a low turnout because it's less people to be responsible for, and they can also control, the consultant class can control the 20 or 30% of people that participate in primaries. But the minute we start expanding primaries, we see progressive on the ballots, we see progressive candidates on the ballot, and we win. This happened in at the federal level and also at the local level. It also happened on Tuesday night. If you look at what happened in Cleveland, we passed, the voters in Cleveland voted to pass a civilian oath for the police department there. But we also saw our white allies, right? What they call a progressive, the white progressive in Minnesota sell us out in Minneapolis, where they said we don't want to end the department. So people think that progressive ideas don't really fly in the communities. What happens though is our white allies keep selling us out, and when progressive ideas are on the ballot to benefit Black people. And we know this to be true because if you look at the history. Go ahead, sis.
Yeah, I got 30 seconds. I want you to tell us, are black male voters largely progressive? Because I think that's still a question mark. It's
not, though. I think the only progressives in this country are people. The reason people don't understand Black people as progressives is because of language. A great example, I know you got 30 seconds, so I'm going to do this quick. We were in Georgia the week after Ahmaud Arbery was murdered in his hometown. We were doing our Brothers Be Voting roundtable, a room full of Black men. Most of them are gang members, drug dealers, and people who just don't play politics. And they were asking for more public safety. And I'm like, what do you mean you want more police on the street? They looked at me like I had 3 heads. They do not consider public safety as more police on the street. Their definition of public safety is they want to be policed like white people. That's closer to defunding the police than it is public safety. But if you poll Black men on the phone and say, hey, what's the number 1 issue? And they say public safety, then the word is Black men are conservative.
The definition of that. Oh, Mondale Robinson, I wish I could keep talking to you, brother. Thank you for breaking all of that down. We will definitely have you back. Appreciate you. Mondale Robinson, founder and principal of the Black Voter Project. Thank you so much for being here.